Good morning, everyone. Yeah, let's make some coffee. That while we have our coffee chat, we could chat about intrusive thoughts. I hope you have your cup of coffee because it's definitely one of those mornings, I would say. But anyways, intrusive thoughts. So intrusive thoughts, we all have. Whether you're struggling with mental health, whether you're struggling specifically, because I specialize in obsessive compulsive disorder, which intrusive thoughts are commonly associated with obsessive compulsive disorder, but other mental health disorders as well, such as like post-traumatic stress disorder, bipolar disorder, lots of mental health disorders, because we all have intrusive thoughts. Everybody has an intrusive thought. An intrusive thought is defined by an idea or an image that comes into our mind that's uninvited, unwanted. And we all have those. And the intrusive thought can also be violent or sexual. It can be frightening. It can be related to a phobia or a deep-seated fear. It can be disgusting. It can be embarrassing. It can be shameful. It can be immoral. It can be blasphemous. All because an intrusive thought is unwanted, uninvited. It's the thoughts that just pop into our head, whether it's because of something that's going on in our life or something, like I said, a deep-seated fear. I'm scared that this could ever happen in my life. All of those could be triggers for an intrusive thought. I would say that the biggest thing, because intrusive thoughts aren't going to go away, it's more of the focus of how can I live with the potential that I could have an intrusive thought and still be able to live the way that I want to live. I think that is the biggest question and goal in working with anybody struggling with intrusive thoughts, and especially in my line of work, somebody that's struggling with intrusive thoughts associated with obsessive compulsive disorder. And there's a level of acceptance that has to occur, which is sometimes really difficult because, like I said, because the thought could be so frightening, so embarrassing, so immoral, that I don't want to accept it. And it's more of the not accepting the fact that that thought could happen. It's more of the acceptance that this is a thought, period. Very neutral, that our thoughts aren't all of us and they don't define us either. Sorry, sip of coffee. Oh, that's good. That the thoughts don't define who I am as a person, that because I have, the intrusive thought that if I hug my dog too hard, I could break a bone. I mean, she's not super small, but she's kind of on the smaller side. And so sometimes that thought could pop into my head. And how do I sit with, oh my gosh, I could hurt my dog, who I love very deeply. How do I sit with that thought and still be able to interact with her every single day, give her all the snuggles, all the pets, all the love that she deserves? How do I sit with that? And it's acknowledging, that's a thought. Maybe because I'm stronger than her. Maybe not. But also redirecting my attention to the fact that I want to give my dog love. I want to hug her. I want to pet her because that makes me happy. That makes her happy. And so it's all like, it's accepting that I'm having this thought. It's accepting the risk that, yeah, that's a possibility. 50% chance that I could hurt her, 50% chance that I won't hurt her. And also redirecting back to that I want to put my energy towards loving my dog, showing her that I care. And the best way for me to show her that I care is by petting her, snuggling her, giving her big snuggly hugs. And so I think those are like some of the big pieces that are difficult to work with because of our fear that's so closely connected with, I'm having this thought, and because I'm having this thought, it must mean that I want to, continuing with my example, I want to hurt my dog. Because I have the thought, I must secretly, deep down, want to hurt my dog. And that's not true. That's not true. And through the lens of obsessive compulsive disorder, that's a lie that OCD is telling us. It's telling us so that we continue to feed the cycle of anxiety through obsessions and compulsions to feel that temporary relief, right? So if we're thinking about the intrusive thought, giving an example of the OCD cycle with this intrusive thought example, I might have the intrusive thought that, I could break her leg by squeezing her too hard. And then I feel the rumble of anxiety inside, and then the compulsion would be for me to avoid touching her. And anytime she comes near me, I might tell her to go away, or I only provide her verbal praise instead of interacting with her behaviorally, physically. And then I might recognize, okay, well, that compulsion helped with my anxiety. It's come down a little bit, and she goes away. And let's say like a couple hours later, she comes back, and I have the intrusive thought again. Oh my goodness. If I touch her, if I hug her, if I snuggle her, I'm gonna hurt her. And then I feel that anxiety bubble up again. I go through the compulsion again. I feel the temporary relief, right? And let's say this cycle continues and we go through, who knows, another 3, another 5, another 10 of the very similar cycles. And then all of a sudden the intrusive thought changes. It changes to, I could hurt her. She shouldn't even be in the room anymore. And it just continues to snowball from there. And going back to how we handle intrusive thoughts, it's that level of acceptance, like I said at the towards the beginning, that I have to, one, acknowledge that this is an intrusive thought. This is a thought, and not in a reassuring sense for OCD treatment, because whole other conversation, but we know that reassurance for OCD is a compulsion, right? It feeds the cycle. More in that neutral phrasing, very pointed, right? Of this is a pen, this is a cup, this is a thought. Not in the reassuring sense of, oh, it's just a thought. It's okay. It's all about how, one, we acknowledge it. So, like I said, very neutral statement. This is a thought, period. I acknowledge it. I also accept that this thought is here with me. Okay, I see you, intrusive thought. You're here. I may or may not hurt my dog. That is the risk tolerance, right? Acknowledging also the risk that whenever I interact with my dog, I may or may not hurt her. And then the next part is usually the hardest part, because it's us giving the diffusion to the thought. It's creating a bubble, a space between us and the thought, that I get to choose where I direct my energy, that not every thought that comes into my head I have to engage with. I have to give time and energy to, because that's not true. I'm in control of what thoughts I give more energy to. Now, we don't thought block, right? Of like pushing the thoughts out of our head. We don't thought block of like, oh, don't think about that, don't think about that, right? I only love my dog. Don't think about, hurting her. Or, oh my gosh, I thought about hurting her. Now I need to like flood myself with distractions instead. That's also thought blocking. So it's not thought blocking. It's us acknowledging that the thought is in our head. Oh, I see you, intrusive thought. Now I want to direct my attention to what I want to think about, what I want to do. Whether that is me leaning in and continuing, for side note, OCD treatment, leaning in and continuing to engage with my dog so that I'm still sitting with that uncertainty, leaning into the fear that I may or may not hurt her. Or I redirect my attention, still leaning in, to something else, right? I lean in through mental exposure, in the sense that I may or may not hurt her, and I could also have her yip at me. She could cry. She could cry, and sometimes when she cries, she looks at me, right? And she looks at me for comfort. And like, I'm still leaning in because I'm still engaging with the thought of my dog or the thought of potentially hurting her. And so also going that direction while I'm working, while I'm reading, while I'm walking, while I'm doing dishes, right? Because also common compulsion during this point in the process is flooding with distractions. And distraction can be helpful and also not helpful depending on how you're utilizing the coping technique. Helpful distraction is me doing the dishes while I'm also still engaging in the uncertainty, the risk tolerance of the thought. I'm washing a dish, paying attention to the dish, but at the same time, I'm also bouncing back between that I may or may not hurt my dog, or leaning also just into the aspects of my dog, that she's 30 pounds and she's black, gray, and white, and she's got some brown on her paws, and she's got 2 different colored eyes. I'm still leaning in, I'm still engaging because my fear is associated to what I'm describing, I'm engaging with. It doesn't always have to be all the ways that I could hurt my dog. I don't need to necessarily lean in that way. Leaning in could also just be that she's a dog. She's got 4 legs. She's got a nub for a tail. She's brown, gray, and white. She's 5 years old, right? Like all of those pieces as well. That's also how I can lean in. Unhelpful distraction would be if I was so consumed in the dishes and I was forcing myself to be so consumed by the dishes. That is flooding an unhealthy distraction, especially for obsessive compulsive disorder. And I know I keep bouncing back to that. That is my specialty. I know that we're talking about everybody can have intrusive thoughts. And I wouldn't everything that I've been talking about is doable, is a helpful tool, technique for anybody that's struggling with intrusive thoughts. Not only somebody that's struggling with obsessive compulsive disorder. And so yes, we all have intrusive thoughts. I have intrusive thoughts. I know that my mailman has intrusive thoughts. Well, not like directly, but more in the acceptance realm, that I know that everybody that I come in contact with, the person that rang me out at the grocery store, the postman, as I said, my family, my friends, my boss, everybody has intrusive thoughts, because they happen to all of us, whether we want them to or definitely don't. We all do. I would say the distress comes also into play of how much am I able to tolerate the distress from the intrusive thought, because that's usually where the struggle comes in, and where it's helpful to seek professional assistance through a trained mental health provider. Of the intrusive thoughts are interrupting my day. My intrusive thoughts are preventing me from living the life that I want to live. And that's when having the guidance of a mental health professional can be crucial, helpful. Fill in the blank. Because you deserve to live the life that you want to live. And if intrusive thoughts are unmanageable and getting in the way of that, get some help. Find somebody that you connect with, that you're willing to open up about the intrusive thoughts, because as I said at the beginning, our intrusive thoughts can be violent, sexual, a related phobia, a deep-seated fear. They can be blasphemous. They can be embarrassing. They can be disgusting. They can be shameful. And all of those are vulnerabilities. Us talking about some of our intrusive thoughts can be a moment of vulnerability for us, because we're talking about something that we know deep down, we know is not us. I love my dog. I know that I don't want to hurt her, which is how I'm able to accept that I'm having my intrusive thought, that I can also accept the risk, and also diffuse and redirect my thought, my energy, my attention towards what I know is me. That I love my dog, that I love to snuggle her. I know that's me, and that hurting her is not me. It has been an awesome coffee chat with you. I know I haven't drank a whole lot of coffee, but it's been an awesome coffee chat with you. Thank you so much for joining me this morning on our topic of intrusive thoughts. Please leave me some comments. Let me know your thoughts on intrusive thoughts. Also, what's been helpful for you in handling your intrusive thoughts. Because as I said, we all have intrusive thoughts, and the distress level that comes with it, we all feel as well. The struggle comes when the distress gets too large, when the distress becomes too intrusive. not to say like intrusive thoughts are and distress are intrusive, but that's true. Like when it interrupts our day, our goals, our life, the way that we want to live, when it does that, help is out there. Help is available. And there's a trained mental health provider that's ready to help you. You don't have to struggle by yourself. And I hope that from watching this video, you also find a little bit of comfort knowing that everybody has intrusive thoughts. We all have them, and we're all dealing with them. Whether it's on a daily basis or not, we're all experiencing it. And so truly, you are not alone. Help is out there. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I look forward to chatting with you again next month on our next topic. Yeah, happy April. Bye, everyone.